So what we decided to do, and we thought this was quite clever, I don't know, was we defined severity by how much support do you need, with the idea that if you say, look, I'm doing well, but I have this in place, if someone then wants to take those things away, you're defined by severe because you needed all those things and they won't disappear. So that was the logic behind it. Otherwise, we didn't know quite what to do. I don't think any of us know what is severe autism as separated from severe all kinds of things. You could be, you could get a low ADOS score but be severely anxious and be very impaired. And we didn't want those people to somehow get a label of mild. So that's the logic here. I think it's also this part, actually, I have to claim or be clear. This is me. I just made up these. And the point here is that there's also an argument of, for some people, especially around Asperger's syndrome, that I have these characteristics, but I don't have an impairment. I think the point here is DSM-4 or 5 is only about impairment. It's a medical diagnostic system for people that need help. So if you are walking down the street and you have the characteristics of ASD, but I have no reason to think that you need help, then I do not need to diagnose you. I mean, then you may fall in here, but it's actually none of my business what you get called. So we're not saying there aren't people with subtle manifestations of things that look like ASD. The issue is just how do we describe people who do want help. So I'm just going to end by saying there have been a number of new studies, and there will be more coming out, about the new criteria. The problem is, and things look much better than the Yale study that got a lot of press. The Yale study was based on those 12 items from DSM-4, trying to map that onto a new system, and it just can't be done. All of these studies are based on old data. So I think we have to realize that really, if you wanted to study this, you would need to do new field trials, and not just the field trials for DSM-5 are tiny, tiny little things that were done in a very, I don't know what to say, gross way. So don't post this on the website. So they are not the answer of all times. They are a start. But the way that this whole process goes about is it's not a scientific way. It's a group of clinical researchers and clinicians who are trying to do their best. And there are real limitations to that, as people have said. I think there are many questions, lingering questions. One is that in all of mental health, there's much more priority given to sensitivity, that is correctly identifying everybody who needs help, than there is to specificity, which is making sure we're actually giving people the right diagnosis. I also want to make a really strong point, which is that having a list is not the same as getting a good diagnosis. What you do when you try to make a diagnosis is entirely different than looking at a list. If you go to see someone and they pull out their list and look at it and don't do anything in order to ask you questions or see you, something is wrong. And I think, and people have said this multiple times, that many other factors contribute to someone's life, and not just weaknesses, but strengths. Here are the strengths. So I think the point is here that we have these criteria, but there's all these other things that make a real difference. And they don't, DSM is not interested in that. I think we just have to be realistic. They're not going to end up in DSM, but they're important to us, and we need to keep emphasizing them. So again, back to the committee. We do have this 5 now instead of a Roman numeral so that it can be updated constantly. So I think the point for you is that someone is reading your posts when you post things or send emails. Where it goes next is very, very complicated, but I think the idea is for this to be a flexible system. Hopefully we won't all be on this committee the rest of our lives, but the idea is really that we have a way now to update things as they get better. So I think that's a place for you to stick up for yourself, and also be sure you just get information. Don't just read headlines. because it's so easy to misinterpret. This is our new center, all lit up blue. And I just want to say we will be open hopefully in January 2013. We're ramping up now, and actually we're looking for speech and language therapists, OTs, anybody who wants a job, let me know. Or any parents who's got somebody to recommend, let me know. And anyway, thank you very much, and sorry to go into your lunch.